If you are starting a business to escape debt, watch this first. Now, I've helped business owners start businesses. I've helped business owners grow businesses. And I've seen some situations where people have decided, hey, I'm going to start a business. I maybe just lost my job or sort of in limbo right now. And yeah, now's the best time. And some of the questions that never really get asked is like, how is your debt situation? Can you handle this? This is a new project for you, and is this a good approach? And there are cases where people are dealing with debt, like they've got student loans or they've got credit card debt, and they're barely, like they have some savings but not that much, and they don't own anything, they don't have any money in houses, so that they're strapped, like they don't have any net worth. And their solution is, I'm going to start a business. Well, first off, how much risk do you really want to put on yourself? How much pressure do you really want to put on yourself? Because really, the bad debt, first of all, should be paid off. You shouldn't have loads of credit card debt. At the age of 32, I've never had credit card debt. I don't really know what that is. If I use my credit card, I pay it off. I've never actually had an interest payment on credit cards. I don't get why people sort of collect all this debt and then I think, well, in order to get out of this, I'm going to start a business. It's more of a dangerous road than anything. But first off, say you want to start a business that requires capital or bank loans or any of that stuff. Well, if you've got bad debt, it's likely that the banks won't touch you. You need to have income producing assets, or you need to have a job in order to have the banks support you. And then if you don't, well then, like, can anyone trust you with your finances? Well, there's already too much pressure on you with your finances, so probably not something the bank would want to touch. Like, would you want to touch your situation if you were the bank? That's what you really have to think about. So you need to handle this debt load before you do anything drastic. Because starting a business, it's drastic. It's not easy. Huge failure rate compared to, I don't know, getting a job. So instead, okay, if you're really set on this business idea, you can do it. But instead, first, you should help other businesses grow with high income skills like sales and marketing. I've seen anyone learn sales. I've seen anyone, well, to a lesser extent, learn marketing. Marketing's a little bit more challenging, but sales, you could easily learn how to do sales. And companies will hire you because without you, they don't get the sales that you would have brought in. So it's an easy win. Because right now you need to get out of that debt situation. And that means perhaps looking to help others before you try to build this enterprise by yourself, essentially. Because most people will probably not want to support you. So you're going to be alone on this sort of venture. Because one, why should I trust you when you've got debt? Why should a bank trust you? Why should a family member trust you? Why would a friend trust you? Why would anyone trust you? You've already got terrible debt. So you need to address that. And that really means getting a job. Learn how to grow businesses while you're trying to help others grow? By reading books by CEOs, okay? So not like the self-help gurus, because they're not actually showing you how to build businesses like the CEOs that have already done. There's a Starbucks book by like Howard Schultz. There's a few books by other CEOs that actually show this construction of businesses. There's the Steve Jobs memoirs. Anything related to Steve Jobs, it kind of shows you how businesses are built, and it's real, like it's truthful, versus what a self-help business guru will probably launch a book, but they're just an author, and unless you want to become an author, then not the right kinds of books. And that's going to help you build a business by learning from the best. So, while you're helping these businesses grow, you're using the money that you earn, ideally from either commissions, salary, wages. You're using that money to pay off the bad debt, okay? This is especially the credit card debt, because that's the worst, I would say, based on the percentage that you have to pay. Then you invest the remainder into income or dividend-producing assets, right? So we're looking at stocks, index funds, real estate, things that you'd be comfortable with investing. They're not too challenging, and a bank can help you out with that. Once you've, paid that debt off and things are stable, you now have some assets, you have some contingencies, you have, 3 to 6 months of savings at least, then you could probably go after a business where there's little risk, okay? Because things are stable. So ideally, if you're going to start a business, you start a service-based business. I like service-based businesses because to start, there's like little upfront cost. So say you want to help businesses with web design, okay? Maybe it was something you were doing while helping them out with sales and marketing. Maybe you're doing some web design projects for them. Now you can do a service-based business around that. There's like little upfront costs, okay? Laptop, a phone, you're rocking, you're set. And it's all about offering the skills that you have on hand already. Chances are you have a skill that you can translate into a service for someone. These low upfront costs are important because right now you don't want to be spending a bunch of money on an unsure thing. You can always invest in product development along the way. So maybe you want to have a product-based business. You can do that, but at first you need to keep this cash flow coming in. Don't depend on passive income or side hustles to get you out of a bind. A bind like the credit cards and all that, bad money decisions. You need to fix the bind before you take on more risk. That's really that simple. The push for passive income and side hustles, and this is my generation, right? The millennials, we're all kind of obsessed with this. Passive income and side hustles. This video is a side hustle project, but I'm doing other projects as well for income. So this isn't a thing that I'm depending on. It's too risky. But if this is my only go-to, not very smart. I've got real estate and all that other stuff that's important. And it would be very risky to just depend on, I don't know, your business that you're just starting up. You're using it as a way to escape risk. No. You're jumping headfirst into risk when you start a business. As long as you understand that and you can do that, because then it becomes calculated. You know, like, oh, I have money that I can affordably lose and invest in for this business. Understand that, right? You need to understand your budget for building this business. So there are a bunch of variables. Another thing is you might be just not, you might not be cognitively sound with money and making money decisions. And that's where you might need to reach out to a bank and say, hey, I need a plan here to figure this out. I don't really know what I'm doing. And if you can do that, then you gain a ton of respect because you reached out and said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but here are some of the things that I have. Here are the things that I envision doing. And what are the steps that I need to take? And then you go and you take those steps. And then you're not doing this all by yourself. Right now, there are a lot of people who are kind of like living in silos. You can thank the pandemic for that. And they're trying to figure out what to do. They've been laid off. They've lost their jobs, fired, terminated, maybe poor working situation. And now they need to find something to do. And the first step, or the first thing that people go for, is the passive income, the side hustle. Passive income, why? Because they were working at a job that was requiring their active participation. So they're trying to go on the other side of the swimming pool. They're going to the deep end. I did all that active stuff. Now I want to do passive. I want to sit back on a beach, relax. Passive income doesn't really exist. First of all, let's look at an example. You are setting up a merch store, right? In the hopes that this drop shipping merch store will just make money for you and you don't have to do anything. One, you need to put time in to figure out what products you're selling, what your brand is, who you're selling to, what merch store you're going to use, how our customer service situation is going to be handled, how are you going to get sales, how are you going to get marketing. You need to know how to do sales and marketing, high income skills. In order to make this passive income, you need to know these things. And are you just a brilliant marketer? If you are, then there's a chance you can make it passive. Right out of the gate, though, you probably have to learn some things. You have to learn social media. You have to learn all these different variables. It now is a real legitimate business that you're going for. So, not really passive. Definitely not up front. You have to do these steps. And now, once you've done these steps and you got it going, maybe in 5 to 10 years, that merch store can start making money for you. But there are a ton of variables. Google can easily knock your website down, or your ranking might be lost if you don't pay attention to what's happening. So you always have to have your eyeballs watching the business. It's not really passive. You could use an example like maybe you're a TikTok creator. You can be making money with your TikTok videos. That's the thing that's starting to come up. You need to keep creating videos though. Still not passive. And if you stop creating videos, the money will slowly decline. Say you are creating a book and you want to do book sales. The book sales will not come in on their own. You typically have to do sales and marketing. And if you can set up a structure where the marketing runs on its own, so it means you've built a team or you've built some automation workflows, so these things run on their own, then it could possibly become passive, where you only put in a couple of hours a week. That's as passive as you could possibly get. So that's where you run into, maybe that 4-hour work week. It's possible, but all the steps leading up to it require some time and effort. This is why, if you are thinking of starting a business to escape debt, you have to understand all these different variables. Because a passive income business and a side hustle type business, those are really popular business ideas coming up right now. Those things that I mentioned, the merch store, the books, the TikTok creation, YouTube, all these little things, they're very popular. They're very in right now, so everyone's jumping on them. And it's possible to have success. I want to be positive here. However, you have to be aware that people just might not be interested. And you have to understand that. So, to take the pressure off yourself, take care of the bad debt, figure out why you're paying a bunch of money to these credit card companies, solve the problem so it's not happening again, get a job or freelancing, or say you don't have references, you don't have a resume, you are SOL, you don't know where to go, then you need to definitely have some sort of job that you're doing here. Super important. It provides the structure and foundation, and if you don't have that, you might go crazy, like literally. And I've seen it. I know too much about it, and it's dangerous. So, I would say that while you have the job going, that's when you can really kind of take this business to the next sort of level, and there's time to do it. Now, you can find a job that's relevant to your business, so you don't feel like you're wasting time. Maybe you don't like the job you're in currently. You find a job that's relevant to what you want to do. For instance, maybe you want to start a legal practice. I'm just throwing out ideas here. And you've never built a legal practice before, but this business idea is something you want to do. Before you start the legal practice, you should probably work for a lawyer, because a legal practice might involve you getting a law degree, and you don't know if you actually want to do it. You can work for a local law firm, okay, as an assistant, so that you can be in the trenches. You can understand what law is all about. Same goes for anything. Say you want to go to school and you want to become a marketing person, or you want to go and learn how to do sales, but you want to go to school for that. Those are things you can likely do by working at a business, working for a business. You can learn all of that. You don't have to go to school for that. I went to school for marketing. And yeah, I think it's valuable. Say you've got the money to go to school, I think it gives you the discipline to do it, and then you can do it. But don't think that you have to get more risk, get more of those student loans by going to school. Maybe you're doing a changing career paths. I've seen plenty of people, they're in their 30s and 40s, they've decided, I'm going to go and get a different degree in this other subject, and then go into more debt. We're going back to debt here. And that's going to help me escape. Well, I've talked to some lawyers, and they will tell you that there's a lot of debt that you're going to put yourself in. There's a lot of pressure you're going to put yourself in. So it's not for sure that going for that second degree is going to be the solution for you. For some people, it works out. Like, yeah, I went for the second degree. I'm now in the career that I love. And I've now built a business around this second degree that I got. And everything's working out perfectly. Yes, there's that possibility. But There's risk that you might say, hey, you know what, this second degree, I'm going to finish it, but I'm going to go for a third degree. At what point are you going to say, enough debt, I'm going to take life seriously? That's what you have to ask yourself. Enough with these business visions of grandeur. Enough with these ideas. I'm now going to focus in on getting these steps and putting the life on track. That's what you really have to look at. Starting a business is an escape for many. It is a way to avoid reality. And it should not be looked at like that. The idea of glamorizing entrepreneurship is not a good idea at all. It's a serious business. I wish more people took it seriously, because it's not as simple as just playing around with that t-shirt company. If you're like 10 years old and you have no, again, we're going back to risk here. These 10-year-olds that are starting these t-shirt companies, they have no risk because they've got many years in front of them. They can easily start this t-shirt business. They don't have the kind of debt that I'm talking about here. They're not drowning in credit cards. So, you really can't compare it. You can't look at that younger person and say, they've got a business, why can't I do it at 45 years old? You can't compare it. Different situations here. Different situations indeed. Because at 45, really, no, you should have several assets set up, not several credit cards that are filled up and say decline when you try to use them. Different situations here. So you really have to look at a step-by-step process to really fix your situation. And things can unravel very quickly. You start a business, things can very quickly decline for you. Worse than what you already have. You could go homeless. You could lose everything. You could lose the house. You could, maybe you have a house, or you could just, be on the streets. And then you have nothing. So, some thoughts. Hopefully that all helps. Best of luck on your situation. Till next time, bye.